Hello folks, it's Sinow here. I hope those of you who have been playing in the early access period for Lost Ark are having a wonderful time with the game so far. But for those of you who are maybe not finished leveling yet, or maybe for those of you who are going to join us today, hopefully when this video comes out for the official launch of the game on Friday, I wanted to make a quick tips video in order to try and facilitate your journey into Lost Ark and some tips that I wish I knew when I was a beginner to this game. The tips will start off with some kind of more basic stuff or things that I think are easy to miss and then gradually get a little bit more complicated as we go along. So stay tuned if some of the stuff seems a bit basic at the beginning, and hopefully there'll be something here that you didn't know that will help you as you do your adventures in Arkesia. So we're going to make this short and sweet this video. Let's launch right into tip number 1. This is something you're going to hear a lot of Lost Ark YouTubers talk to you about, and for very good reason. Do not use percentage HP recovery potions when you are leveling. So you can use these potions while you're leveling, the ones that have a flat value. So this is like 768 health, 968, 1592 and so on. These potions are totally fine to use, and you will find potion vendors that sell you these for a rather cheap amount of silver if you run out. Try and make sure that you're using the highest tier of these potions as you level up. That's totally fine to use. Try not to use these potions on the other hand, because these potions can actually be quite expensive and they are crafted and then used in endgame. So if you're using these potions while you're leveling, you're kind of wasting a lot of gold here. So try not to use these percentage HP recovery potions if possible. Also on that note, try to save your Phoenix Plumes as well, because you can use them, for example, in Guardian raids to resurrect, and they are quite valuable. So try not to use them in the leveling process, as it is considered a bit of a waste. Tip number 2, for those of you who are a little bit stumped as to what roster level means here at the bottom left, roster level is a level that goes up on your account as you achieve a variety of different objectives, and also is tied to achievements within the game itself. So for example, if you go to roster and then roster information, you will see a big long list of all of the goodies and rewards that you get as you hit different levels in roster. A lot of these are passive stat buffs to your character that will have a button that says claim here, so make sure you claim these regularly to get your passive stat buffs to help your character as you level up. Occasionally when you hit a certain milestone as well, you get something really nice, for instance a chest of 50 crystals, which is a nice little bonus extra, and it's worth getting these as you go along. So yeah, that's what roster experience and roster levels mean for you. Tip number 3, for those of you who want to hit level cap as quickly as possible, the easiest way to do this is to stick to the main storyline quests. The main storyline quests are often denoted with an orange color that you can see on the screen here, or they will have a blue color, for example, if it's a dungeon that's related to doing the main storyline quest. You don't really have to do a lot of side questing in Lost Ark in order to get experience. You can just follow the main storyline quests and you will hit level 50 quickest by doing this method. Other types of quests that you might come across are purple quests. These are guide quests that often unlock some sort of feature or function within the game. These can be quite good to do. For instance, at one point within this guide menu here in your quest journal, you might get some that unlock life skills for you at certain points, so you might want to do these while you're leveling up as well if you feel like it. But for the most part, if you're trying to rush to 50, stick to the orange and blue quests. The yellow quests are side quests that can for the most part be ignored, and any yellow quests that you might want to do later on that have like a stat increase potion, you can do it at a later date. Don't worry about it, so you can ignore these yellow quests. Tip number 4, you can do dungeons solo or with friends. The dungeons in this game are very soloable. But I will say that there are 2 difficulties for dungeons, and if you want to do hard mode dungeons, you will get better loot in general. It'll be like slightly higher statistically, but it will take you longer to do because the mobs have a bit more HP and they hit harder, and you will find that if you're trying to rush to level 50, it will be a bit slower to do hard mode dungeons compared to the normal mode dungeons. So if you want a little bit more challenge, or you want to try and get a little bit better gear, you can do dungeons in hard mode. Otherwise you can do them in normal, but you do not need to have a group of people to do the dungeons in general. You can solo all of them. Tip number 5, you can see right above my head here, it says channel 9. This is how you change channels in the game, and if you're trying to find your friend in the overworld and you're standing in the same spot but you can't see each other and you are on the same server, that probably means that you're on different channels. So in order to change channel, it's very easy. I'll hide my face for this one. All you do is you go to this little drop down up at the top right here, and then you pick the same channel together and you should pop up beside each other. The channels have different colored dots to denote how busy they are. Yellow dot means medium traffic, green means light, and red means heavily congested. It might block you if it's too congested. So just pick the same channel as your friend and you'll be able to meet up. Nice and simple. Tip number 6, a lot of you might not know this, but the mounts in this game aren't just different aesthetically, they also have different attributes that can make it a little bit easier to get around the world. So for instance, the Cerberus mount that was given to people as part of the Founders Pack has a hidden ability that you might not know about, which allows it to do a double jump. Here we go, I'm going to try it now, here we go. 3, 2, 1, jump, jump. So this double jump allows you to get around the world a little bit quicker, and a lot of mounts have little secret extras like this. Sometimes it's just an emote that you can see on the emote list here, which is also pretty cool, but just bear this in mind when you get a new mount that it might have a cool little extra feature like this. On the topic of mounts, if you have just gotten to Tortoic and you're finding that you can't use any of your mounts there because of plotline reasons, do not panic. The ladybug mounts that you might see some people running around on are unlocked as part of the main storyline quest. I think it's just after the main storyline quest where you corral male ladybugs is when you get this ladybug mount. It's pretty early on in the main storyline quest chain for this area, so if you're finding that you can't use a mount here and you're frustrated, don't worry, just keep doing the main storyline quests and you'll unlock it fairly soon. Tip number 7, after you unlock your life skills in, was it Lake Bar is the area? I'm pretty sure it's called Lake Bar. After you unlock your life skills in the early level 20s in Lake Bar, you can use the B button to switch to your life skill menu and then mouse over this green bar here in order to see how quickly your work energy is replenishing. Work energy is a resource that gets used up every time you gather something, and it means that there is a hard cap on how much materials you can gather all at once before you have to wait for this work energy to replenish, kind of like a stamina system in some games. One tip I could give here is if you're not trying to rush to 50 as soon as possible, you might want to use up some of this work energy as you're leveling up to gather some materials. There are two main reasons for this. A, if you overcap on work energy, it is effectively wasted, so this is the most economical way in order to make sure that your work energy is not wasted by sitting at 10,000. But also B, it means that you're gathering up materials that you will use at endgame. In Lost Ark, the materials that you gather, even when you're quite low level, are still useful even at level 50 and above, so you definitely want to try and gather these if possible in order to make, for instance, HP potions when you hit cap, etc. Another quick little note on the topic of life skills, by the way, for those of you who have no idea where you can equip new life skill tools, you can go to character, trade skills, and then you might have missed this, but this is actually the equipment slots for all of the different items that you get where you use them for trade skills. So if you're wondering where to equip them, it's on this little pane here. That's quite easy to miss actually, so keep an eye out for that one. Tip number 8, the best way to deal with equipment that you no longer need is to dismantle it. So in order to dismantle equipment, which I desperately need to do here looking at this inventory, all you do is you go to the bottom of the inventory pane, click dismantle, and then you can click one of these buttons to take all of the items of a certain rarity. So for instance, let's do uncommon, which is green and grey items. It puts it all in this window, you hit dismantle, and then boom, you get lots of dust. You can sell this dust to NPCs for a little boost in silver. Also, if you're wondering, there is a sort inventory button. It is right here at the top left. It looks like the Windows logo a little bit here. You click this and then boom, inventory is sorted. Very nice, huh? Tip number 9, if you don't have a lot of silver yet and you want to give yourself a little cash injection, so to speak, then one of the easiest ways to do this is to claim the gold coins that you get from Rapport NPCs. So an easy way to do this is to go to Adventure tab here, go to Rapport, and then you will see all of the different NPCs that you can build a relationship with in Lost Ark. You can build relationships by randomly playing them songs with your musical instrument, or emoting at them, or giving them gifts, etc. This is quite a fun little system and it allows you to get closer to the characters in the game. But if you just need some silver to start off with, in this pane here, or one of the panes, you'll want to try and find an NPC that you've met and then click on claim reward, and I'm pretty sure all of the NPCs that you meet for the first time have some sort of like gold coin reward at level 1. This is just really easy to claim. You click claim reward here. It gives you a notice saying that you can only claim this once per roster, which is totally fine. Don't worry about that. And then you go to your inventory, find the gold coin, and then use them, and every single gold coin you use gives you 1,000 silver. Nice and easy. On the topic of money, the money in this game is shared across your characters, so unlike so many other MMOs for some reason, you don't have to keep mailing money back and forth between you, your main character, and your different alts. All of your alts share like the same money pile in this pane up here, so you don't have to worry about that. It's really convenient and easy, so make sure that you use these gold coins to get extra silver. Tip number 10, after you do the Siege of Castle Lotera, which is around level 25, 26 I believe, you will find a tutorial around Prosperity Plaza that tries to teach you how to do faceting, where you facet stones of birth in order to give you passive abilities and a small stat buff. So you should find the quest to start off this tutorial, I think is a purple quest that you find around here. Don't worry if the tutorial is a little over your head. This is something that's mostly used for endgame content, but I'm going to try and facet the Stone of Birth. Let's say, for example's sake, I really want to unlock the Master of Escape ability here. So I want to try and get 5 of these nodes to light up. Every time I click on something, the success rate goes down, but it starts off at 75%. So there we go, I managed to get 1. I managed to get 2. Now the success rate's down at 55%. I'm going to waste it on the other categories. And every time it breaks, it goes back up again. 65%. Click this. 75. Click. Click. I've got 4. If I get 1 more, I can unlock the first level of this passive. But I'm going to try and get my success rate back up again. Just going to waste all of this. It doesn't really matter if it succeeds or not. Okay, 45%. Here we go. Will I be lucky? No. Okay. So I managed to completely flub that Stone of Birth faceting. Didn't really get any of the passives, but the reason why this is a good idea to do, even if you don't try and get the passive buff, is when you facet one of these stones, it gives you the basic effect of 777 vitality when equipped. And that's really nice because it gives you more HP, which means that you can survive more hits even while you're doing the leveling process. So don't worry too much about faceting, but do try and facet one of these stones after you do the tutorial and just equip it anyway for the extra bonus vitality. It can't hurt. Tip number 11, which is also related to just after the Siege of Castle Luterra. Around about Thyraine's Throne, I'm really sorry, I don't remember exactly which NPC gives you this quest, but you will get a quest around here that allows you to unlock your Stronghold. I would say it's a good idea to try and unlock your Stronghold as soon as possible, and the reason for this is that the Stronghold has quite a lot of research upgrades that take quite a long time to do, so you might as well do this while you're in the leveling up process anyway. If I go to management here, I've done Lab Island, confirmed development, completed research. But let's say I wanted to understand the Stronghold structure, which is just like an extra buff or whatever, and I start clicking research here. You see it takes 3 hours and 34 minutes in order for me to complete this research, unless I can use some crystals to speed up the process. So I figure it's good to do the Stronghold tutorial as soon as you get it and then start doing these upgrades while you're leveling up anyway in order to expedite the process so that when you hit level 50 you've already saved yourself a little bit of time when it comes to upgrading your Stronghold, which is very important for crafting in particular when you get to endgame. Tip number 12, if you do join a guild, you should try and contribute to the guild every day in order to help the guild grow and also get a little bit of a bonus for yourself. So in order to do this, you go to community when you're in a guild, Alt U for the guild menu, and then over here you can scroll wheel at this part of the screen in order to scroll back and forth between the different tabs in guild. You want to go to the overview tab, and then at the bottom right here it says guild donation. And then try and donate 6,000 silver every single day. The reason why you want to do this, like I said, it helps the guild to research different things later on that allow the guild to get bigger and also provide more benefits for the people who are inside it. But another reason why you want to do this is that it gives you Saleable bloodstones. A little difficult to say that sometimes. Saleable bloodstones, and these bloodstones can be exchanged for a variety of goodies, including honing materials, which are used in order to make your gear have a higher eye level and have more power at endgame. So it's well worth donating silver once every day in order to try and get as many bloodstones as possible. The donation for gold is a little bit expensive when you're just starting out the game, so you might want to hold off on this one, but the silver one is dead easy to do. 6,000 silver is nothing, so by all means, slap this button every day and it will pay dividends in the long run. Tip number 13, now this is related to the in-game store. You will find that certain store listings are orange in color and they have a very similar effect to purple store listings. The orange store listings are often more beneficial than the ones that are purple. So I need to hide my face in order to show this to you guys here. Give me 1 second. For example, there is a 3,600 crystal bundle here that costs 8,460 royal crystals, which is this currency. However, just beside it, there is a orange store listing for a crystal 10% bonus pack that only costs 8,000 royal crystals, but if you mouse over it here, it tells you that it gives you 3,600 crystals. So it's giving you the same amount as this purple listing, but it costs a little bit less. These orange listings tend to be limited in some amount. So for instance, it says here 1 of 1. This can be limited weekly or it can be limited monthly, etc. But there's a reason for that, and that is because it's a very good deal. So keep an eye out if you're going to try and purchase things from the store, that sometimes these orange listings are better value for money than the purple listings. On that topic, I would advise that you buy 2 things in the store that I think are particularly good value for money. One of them is a level complete pack, level 50 here, that you can see I've already bought, by the way. This provides you with 2,600 crystals, and you get this in 10 level increments. You get like a chest, and when you open the chest, it gives you crystals. This is really good value because it's only 1,100 royal crystals, so I would definitely recommend buying this. It's a super good way to give you a lot more blue crystals, very good bang for its buck. And another thing that I would recommend buying is a skin for your boat. Where is it? So, you might not know about this, but when you start sailing in this game, you can get different skins for your boat, and these skins actually give you a small benefit when it comes to sailing around Arkesia. I would say that the best boat to buy here, the best ship skin, is Hermida's Song. It only costs 420, nice, blue crystals, and it gives you a bonus where when you do fast sailing, which is the spacebar thing where you start zooming faster, it has a 30% chance to restore 400 fast sailing energy, which basically means that you can get around the seas of Arkesia a lot quickly, and it's really cheap to buy this, so I kind of figure why not. If you find that the ship skin for Hermida's Song is maybe a little bit too Disney for your tastes, then I would say the Alfhaven MK1, which also is here in the store and has a little bit more of a kind of metal appearance to it. This makes your ship a little bit faster to sail around anyway, just by default, so it's also not a bad idea to pick this up if you really prefer the look of this over the rather kind of Disney looking Hermida's Song. The submersible maybe isn't quite as useful, although it does look pretty badass, all things considered, but definitely it's worth picking up one of these ship skins if possible. Tip number 14, you can change your skills at any time in this game by putting extra points into them, which you probably already know. But something that might save you from sitting there clicking like an idiot is if you hold down shift and click on the minus or the plus button, you can put the maximum amount of skill points, or you can reset them to 1 at a single click of a button. So you don't have to sit there and go up to 10 every single time you want to put up to 10, just use shift click. And you can change these at any time as long as the skill is not on cooldown. You can change how many points are invested in it, and then all of the tripods, etc. Tip number 15, power passes. So a lot of you might know this, a lot of you might not know this, but when you get to level 50, you are able to earn 2 power passes that allow you to expedite another character to level 50 and get it ready to start trying to do some of the endgame content in this game. You get your first power pass when you complete the main storyline quest around Vern. I believe it's called Aylin's Gift. You go back to the Queen at one point and you complete the quest, and it gives you your first power pass. And then you just use this item and it applies to your account, and it means when you're on the character select screen, you can use the power pass function to skip one of your existing characters to level 50 in an expedited process and get them ready for endgame. You also get your second power pass ticket after you use the first one, so I should get a second power pass ticket in the mail shortly. And this is really nice because if you don't 100% know you want to go a certain class and you start leveling it, you get to level 50 and you're like, I'm still not feeling this. Don't worry, use the power pass, get another character to level 50 and then try that out instead. And even if you don't decide to have a new main, it is a very good idea in this game to have alts anyway. This allows you to do dailies on more than one character and then funnel the materials towards one character. So it's a very good way of trying to get as powerful as possible in as quickly a time as possible. So check it out. Tip number 16, you can switch characters by pressing escape, clicking on switch characters down here where my cursor is, and then simply clicking on another character. The reason why this is really nice is it means that you don't have to go back to the character select screen every time. Tip number 17, if you're finding that the white flashes that you see on mobs when you're hitting them, especially with multi-hit attacks, are beginning to annoy you slightly, in particular when you're fighting a big boss and it has like a white flashing on the screen a lot of the time, you can disable this by enabling the photosensitivity mode. You might remember photosensitivity mode was something that the game asked you when you first started it up. You might have declined this because you yourself don't really suffer from photosensitivity issues, but even people who don't suffer from these might find that the white flashing is a little bit annoying and wonder how they can disable this. In order to do so, you press escape, you go to settings, you go to accessibility, And then under video accessibility, all you have to do is click on photosensitivity mode, and this will disable the white flashing that you see many mobs do when you hit them. As another note, you might find that sometimes when you're in battle with your allies in a party, their spell effects from the abilities that they're using are often a little bit blinding, and it's hard to see what's going on. If you want to try and disable these so that you can keep up with what's happening in fights a lot easier, this is also achievable in the menu. All you have to do here is you go to gameplay, controls and display, and then under show combat / pet, there is an option here called battle effects display. By default, this is on for all targets. My personal recommendation is to put on include buff effects of party members. Why this is a good thing is, for instance, if a bard puts down like a sort of healing radius and you want to be able to make sure that you know where this is in order to stand in it, this will show you the beneficial effects that your allies do so you know if you're getting them, but it will also not display your allies' battle effects, for instance, damaging abilities and things like that you don't really need to see in order to play the game. So if you're getting a little bit overwhelmed with all the spell effects that people in your party are doing, turn on this option and the game will become a lot easier to play. Tip number 18, you might be a little bit surprised to find out that in this game, unlike many other MMOs, a lot of the gear that you earn, particularly at endgame, that makes your character stronger in general and is used for endgame, can be traded on the marketplace. So if you find an item that maybe isn't for you, you might find that it's actually still tradable on the marketplace, and it's not such a good idea to just simply get rid of it. One thing in particular I would say will become quite important for you as you continue to progress into endgame is engravings. You will probably find engravings that don't really suit the class that you're currently playing, but you can sell these on the marketplace to earn a little bit of gold, and then you can maybe use that gold to buy the engraving books that do correspond to the class that you're currently playing. Tip number 19, some of you might be wondering where your ultimate ability, also known as your awakening ability, is. Do not fear, you will be able to unlock this when you hit level 50. In order to unlock your first awakening skill, what you have to do is you have to progress through the main storyline quests in Verne until you talk to Queen Aelin and she asks you to go back to Trixion to talk to Beatrice. When you get back to Trixion, you will notice that Beatrice has a purple quest marker above her head, and this quest will send you back to Arthetine. It's not a very long quest line. If you're a little bit frustrated and you just want to use your new toy, don't worry. This quest line isn't very long, and when you get to the end of it, you will unlock your first awakening skill, which is your ultimate, and it's a very nice thing to unlock when you get to level 50 because, well, I mean, look at this. Why would you not want to have your ultimate ability, right? As a side note, if you're wondering where the second awakening skill is, you have to complete all of the main storyline quests in Rohendel before you can acquire the awakening quest from the Queen's Garden, but I haven't actually got around to doing that myself just yet, but that's just a little note for those of you wondering. And finally, tip number 20, which some people would say is the most important tip in this video. If you're looking at the area chat and you're beginning to despair for your future mental health, all you have to do is go to the bottom left, click on the plus sign here, and then make a chat tab that does not have area chat enabled. And promise me on this one, in the long run, your mental health and sanity probably will thank you on this, because trying to read some of the stuff that people say in area chat does make me despair for the future of humanity. And if you're the kind of meme lord that thrives off of the chaos of area chat, I just want you to know that, well, I mean, that's your own business. You can do it if you want to, but quite frankly, you disgust me. Disgusting! And if your parents could see some of the things that you say in area chat, they would be disgusted too. And for one last little extra bonus, tip number 21, subscribe to Sinow on YouTube or follow me over on twitch.tv/SinowBeats in order to get a lot more Lost Ark content and a lot more advice for learning how to play this game. You had to give me this one. Come on. I had to shill myself a little bit. I put myself as tip 21 as like a bonus tip even. I was really tempted to have it as tip 20, but I was pretty good about it. You can give me this one. Come on now. But I really hope that this video has been beneficial for you if you're trying to dive into the world of Lost Ark for the first time and you're finding some of it a little bit confusing. And also I want to say once again, thank you so much to my Patreons for continuing to support me. The response to the previous video for the Lost Ark class guide has been phenomenal. Thank you so much to everybody who watched that. It's really energized me, and I hope I can keep making great Lost Ark content for all of you in the months and years to come. Anyway, this has been Sinow. I hope this has helped. Take care. Goodbye.